Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Let me straighten up. I was rushing, trying to post everywhere that I was going live and lost track of time. But we're here. I'm excited. Happy Thursday. And I missed y'all last week. I really did. I missed y'all last week. I was on vacation and also working. I was the bridesmaid in one of my friends' wedding. It was a destination wedding in Tulum, and it was such a beautiful, beautiful wedding. It was hot. It was hot, so I was sweating, dripping sweat. Now, I sweat, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely one of those girls who sweats, but I'm not one of those girls who drips sweat down my neck. And that's what was happening in Tulum. My wig wouldn't stay flat. It was lifting up. It was just too much going on as far as the weather. But we had a good time. We definitely had a good time, and it was beautiful. Of course, we cried, and it was just such an amazing sight to see. So, looking forward to the next wedding, whether it be mine or friends. I'm excited. But today, y'all, we are talking about how to position yourself as a style expert. I feel like many stylists are wanting to gain more opportunities, wanting to gain more clients, wanting to increase their income, but they're failing to position themselves as an expert to even receive any of that. Many of them don't have a presence on social media, don't have a presence online in general, are only showing up whenever they feel like it. And when they do show up, it's not, professional, it's not branded, it's not anything. And they're wondering why. They are wondering why they aren't receiving the opportunities and the clients and the income that they desire. So I wanted to talk about how to position yourself as a style expert because I've been able to and have been blessed to be able to do something like this. And it's just my nature to show up, not just authentically, but also as a professional in whatever I do. I want to be seen as an expert. I am seen as an expert in the field of styling. And although it took many years to get here, I've always been very particular about what I share, what I post, how I'm showing up. And that's just the nature of how I am. I don't do half, I don't want to say a curse word, but I don't do half behind stuff. I always make sure that things look a certain way. I'm very intentional about what I post, what I share, all the things. And I wasn't always like this. There were plenty of times where I rushed into things. There were plenty of times where I didn't think through things before sharing or before posting or all of that. But I've become an expert at rebranding myself. I've rebranded myself as a stylist multiple times. Started as an editorial stylist, transitioned into personal stylist, then personal brand stylist, then back to personal stylist, and then style savant. And now style savant and style biz coach. So for me, I have done this branding thing for quite some time, at least for myself. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about what people like. I learned a lot about what people don't like. I learned a lot about what people are attracted to. And I've also learned that it's not just about engagement. It's not just about getting the likes. It's not just about getting the views. It's about intentionality and adding value in the spaces that you are taking up. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing as stylists, that it is not just showcasing who we are and not just showcasing what we do and how we do it, but also adding value to wherever we're showing up, whether it be being educational and curating educational content or introducing ourselves, letting people know why we do what we do, or whatever. We really want to make sure that whatever spaces we're taking up, we are seen as that expert. So before I hop into it real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kristen Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Project Style University, where I help first generation personal stylists truly transform their love for styling into a profitable business. I started coaching stylists back in 2020, and I did not feel ready. But I felt led to start PSU, which is Project Style University. And since then, I have created courses, I have hosted workshops, I have hosted masterclasses, I've created communities, memberships, a lot of virtual things, and all with the hopes of and the goal of helping stylists that look like me and navigate the styling industry with ease, but also position themselves as experts because a lot of us don't see ourselves as that. A lot of us see ourselves as a stylist just doing fashion on the side or just dressing people on the side. And it's like, no, you can actually do this full time. I do it full time. And I absolutely love what I do. Whether you work for a company as a stylist, whether you have clients as a stylist, whether you do both, whatever it is, there's a lot that we bring to the table. And it's important to know that before you hop into this industry. And even if you don't know that before you hop into it, it's important to grasp that concept while you're here because there are going to be so many people and so many situations and experiences that you go through that is going to make you feel like you're not welcome, you're not needed, your value isn't there. Anybody could do what you do. What you do is not that important. Anybody can go to the mall and shop, and those emotions and those thoughts are what's going to keep you pigeonholed and what's going to keep you, fearful of stepping out of your comfort zone and truly walking in your purpose. So I want you to understand that if you're a stylist that wants to be seen as an expert, you have to know that this journey is not going to be easy. And you have to know that you may have to do some things that you may not want to do in order to be where you desire to be, if that makes sense. And when I say do things that you don't want to do, I don't mean doing random crazy stuff for anything. I mean just stepping out of your comfort zone, speaking up, talking about things that people don't normally talk about, being honest, showcasing your philosophy and your uniqueness about what you do as a stylist and about what you bring to the table. And that can be scary. That can be scary for some because there are a ton of stylists out here nowadays, and a lot of them are talking about the same things. So when you're talking about something different, it's like, well, wait a minute. Am I right? Am I wrong? Nobody else is talking about this. And it's like, yeah, sis, or yeah, bro, you're right. You're an expert. It's okay to not be talking about everything else that all the other stylists are talking about. It's okay to be different. And then in this industry, you have to be because that is what is going to help you to show up as the style expert that you were created to be. So I have 3 to 4 speaking points that I want to cover. But before I hop into that, I want to make sure that you all know that we have a free community, y'all. We have a free community now. Hey Stylist. So Hey Stylist is a free community, a free group chat community that I created for stylists of color to join so that they can connect, so that they can collaborate, so that they can learn, share resources, share opportunities with other stylists that they may or may not know. I don't know about you all, but when I was starting my styling journey, I didn't have a bunch of styling friends. I didn't have a bunch of people who I could relate to. There weren't a bunch of people doing what I was doing. I literally had one friend, still friends to this day. And after being in the industry for quite some time, that list really didn't grow much. I think I maybe met or became friends with maybe 5 other stylists max. So honestly, y'all, this industry is very cutthroat. A lot of people in this industry like to gatekeep, and that is not what this platform is about. That is not what I'm about, and that is not what Hey Stylist is about. So if you want to join a community of stylists of color, whether you are new to the industry, whether you are excited to be a part of the industry but haven't yet done anything yet, whether you have been in the industry for quite some time, whether you are seasoned, the Hey Stylist community is for you. And it's completely free. You absolutely have nothing to lose. So it's a group chat. If you want to join, all you have to do is click the link below in the description box once we log off here. And I can also drop it in the, let me see if I can grab it really quick before we get started. I can drop it in the chat so y'all can have that. But there is a very small group of stylists there thus far. And it's really not about numbers for me. It's really not. It's really about making an impact. So I'd rather have 5 stylists and make an impact in their lives as opposed to having 500 stylists and not really doing much of anything. So I'm going to share, I have the link here. I'm going to share the link for you to join in the comments. So feel free to join. And when you do register or when you do submit your information, you will automatically receive an email to join. And that email is going to be a link to the GroupMe for you to join. You just have to download the app, it's free. And there also is going to be a link to a video. That video is going to introduce you again to myself, introduce you to Hey Stylist and what we're all about. So I'm excited to meet you. But other than that, let's hop into it. Let me pull up my notes because I have a lot that I want to cover today and not much time. So, how to position yourself as a style expert. So, number one, define what actually makes you an expert. And I'm looking at my notes on my phone here. So, that is why I'm looking down. But number one, define what makes you an expert. What makes you you? What makes you such an amazing stylist? Because there's a difference between experience and expertise. So obviously your experience is what you gain over time, what you've experienced, what you've done, what you've accomplished. I know I have a ton of experience in retail. I have a ton of experience in customer service. I have a ton of experience in styling, of course, but also virtual styling. So I've been able to gain a ton of experience in these segments and in these spaces because I've done it so much. And you can also have experience in something by just doing it once. But that doesn't mean you're an expert in that thing. Just because I've done something, just because I have experience in something, doesn't mean I'm an expert in that. I've done people's hair. I'm not an expert hairstylist. I am not. What else can I think of? I've done my own makeup. I haven't really done anybody else's makeup. I've done my own makeup. That does not mean I'm an expert. That does not mean I'm an expert makeup artist. Like, I go to the gym multiple times a week. That does not mean I'm a trainer. I'm an expert trainer. So just because you have experience in something does not mean you're an expert in that. So you have to figure out what is unique about you. What is unique about what you're offering? What is unique about you as a stylist? For me, what's unique about me and what I always like to focus on, and there may be other stylists who focus on this, but again, just because someone else focuses on it or just because a bunch of stylists are talking about the same thing doesn't mean they all have the same experiences or the same expertise in that thing. So I talk about capsule wardrobes. There are a ton of stylists, I'm sure, that talk about capsule wardrobes. But what makes me so special is focusing in on why I select certain pieces for my capsule wardrobe, where I shop for my pieces for my capsule wardrobe, why I curate a color palette for my capsule wardrobe, why I focus on shopping certain pieces for my capsule wardrobe. So I educate my clients on that. I also talk about body shapes. Now, there are other stylists who talk about body shapes. But one thing that makes me unique is that I don't use the body shapes that everybody knows and everybody finds on Google. I created my own body shapes because I did not like the body shapes that were offered to us and that society had created for us. So I created my own, which led to me then creating an ebook, my signature ebook, the Body Shape Bible. So that is my unique perspective. That is my unique, value that I add as a stylist. So think about what makes you unique. Think about your background. Now, for me, capsule wardrobes became a thing because I didn't always have a ton of money to go shopping every month or every week or, however often I wanted to go shopping. So I had to make sure that whatever I was purchasing matched with everything else I had in my closet. And this way of thinking started in college, y'all. Everybody knows most college students or most people who are in college, they don't always have a ton of money to work with. So I got back into thrifting. I got back into sourcing certain pieces. I also got into reselling pieces on Poshmark, y'all. I started selling a bunch of my clothes on Poshmark just to make money in college. And I did that for years and I still have a Poshmark account. But, a lot of what we talk about in our styling businesses are based off of our experiences and what we've gone through. I like to talk about body shapes because I've had an experience speaking in front of a group of women, professional women. And when I spoke about the body shapes that we all know and that are all shared on social media, and not even social media, but on Google, if you Google body shapes, when I spoke about those, I didn't really get a positive reaction from the women in the room. So that particular speaking engagement and that particular experience led me to want to then create my own body shapes. Although it was something different, although it was something that, was out of the norm or out of my comfort zone, I did it because that experience led me to doing something different. So think about your background, think about your unique journey. What have you gone through that has made you want to pursue styling, that has made you want to do the things that you are focusing on or things that you are doing as a stylist? Some of the reasons why I'm a style biz coach, I didn't have anybody helping me build my styling business. A lot of what I've learned are from my styling jobs that I've had, my fashion jobs that I've had. That's why I'm always encouraging stylists to get on LinkedIn. Most of the styling jobs and the styling opportunities that I've gained were from LinkedIn. And I noticed that a lot of stylists weren't on LinkedIn. So I'm telling stylists now to get on LinkedIn, find your opportunity, recreate yourself, show up and, authenticate yourself as an expert on LinkedIn. Instagram is not the end all be all. Have a website. I've had a website ever since I started, y'all. That was the first thing that I created. I started off as a blogger, so I needed a space for me to write. And that came with a website. And as time went on and as I matured in my journey, I've, like I mentioned earlier, rebranded, I've switched platforms, but I've always had a website. So the fact that stylists in 2025 don't have websites is mind blowing to me because Instagram can disappear tomorrow. God forbid YouTube can disappear tomorrow, but we hope it doesn't because we love YouTube. TikTok can disappear tomorrow. It literally did it earlier this year. It disappeared. So it's so important for you to have a home base for your business and for you to treat it as such. When I realized that styling was my calling, I literally rebranded myself. I redid my website. I said, this looks too much like a blogger site. Like, I need a website that also incorporates a blog, but then also showcases who I am and what I've done and my experiences and the clients that I've helped thus far. I was very specific and very intentional and very particular about how I was showing up. And earlier, when I said you may have to do things that you don't want to do, that can also be considered as saying no. When I transitioned from a blogger to an editorial stylist and then editorial stylist to personal styling, I wasn't really making too much money before then. Everybody knew me as an editorial stylist. I did editorial styling for 3 years. So when people continued to come to me for editorial styling work pro bono, and I knew that I wanted to get paid, I had to say no. Although it seemed like a great opportunity, although, I would have been able to get content to post on social media, after a while, none of that crap matters. None of that even matters. Okay, pictures to post. Okay, cool. Like, I don't care about that anymore. I've been in this industry for over 10 years. Posting a cute photo on social media just to get likes doesn't mean anything to me anymore because I know my value, I know my goals, and I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know my purpose as a style savant and as a style biz coach. Also, posting on social media every day doesn't really mean anything to me anymore. Yes, it's important to be consistent, but consistency doesn't have to be every day. Consistency for you can look different. Maybe it's 3 times a week. Maybe it's 4 times a week. Maybe it's twice a week and then you share 2 emails. Maybe it's posting twice a week and then you go live twice a week. Whatever makes sense for you as far as consistency, make that work. But you do have to be consistent when you are doing this. I will say one thing that I have been throughout these last 11 years has been consistent. Consistency, y'all. Whether I'm showing up as an editorial stylist, whether I'm showing up as a blogger, whether I'm showing up as a personal stylist, a style savant, a style biz coach, I have always been consistent. If anybody sees me, they already know what I'm talking about. They already know. If anybody sees my logo, if anybody sees any of my content, they already know what I'm talking about because I've been consistent. So I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. So number 2, you have to leverage your story and style philosophy. Leverage your story and style philosophy. Leverage your story and style philosophy. There are certain principles that each of us have as stylists that we live by. Some of them I mentioned earlier. So, like the capsule wardrobes, the body shapes, the confidence building, those are things that I live by. And those came from my personal story. I struggled with confidence. I had no choice but to create a capsule wardrobe. Body shapes were a conversation that I had with a variety of women, and I could see the negativity that they had in their eyes when I talked about certain shapes. So I knew something had to be done. So you gain your style philosophies from your experiences and from your story. So it's important for you to leverage that. Styling principles, really creating style principles and styling principles that build authority and trust with your audience. So the Body Shape Bible, that helps people to build trust because that's something that I created. That's something that I'm confident in and that makes me authoritative in that industry. Teaching women how to take their measurements, helping women to shift their relationship with style. My style philosophy is helping women to shift their relationship with style. What I do is I help aspiring, sophisticated women in transition align their inner beauty with their outer appearance. Over time, I realized that clothes weren't it. Like, clothes weren't it. They're great and they're an addition to who we are and what we do as people, but they're not it. They're not everything. They're not confidence. Clothes aren't confidence. It's how you feel inside. It's how you see yourself. It's how you value yourself. It's your self-awareness. It's your self-confidence. It's your self-esteem. It's your self-image. That is what style is. Style isn't just clothes. It's how you see yourself. It's how you perceive yourself. It's not just about how others perceive you, it's how you perceive yourself. If you don't perceive yourself as confident, how do you expect other people to perceive you? All of what I just said, all of those words, all of those phrases, that came from just my maturity in the styling industry. Because yeah, I believe that clothes were it at one point. I believe that clothes did help people build confidence at one point. I believe that helping a woman, cleanse her wardrobe and fill the gaps in her wardrobe did help to bring confidence at one point. And although it does and is a part of it, it's not the whole entire thing. It's just a piece of that transformation. It's just a piece. I also learned, sorry, y'all. I also learned that In order for me to shift someone's mindset, I needed to transform their life. I needed to transform their way of thinking. And that took longer than two meetings or two calls or two shopping sessions. That took longer than 4 weeks or whatever, however long I was working with my clients. It took a bit longer. It took extra work. It took more of me. It took more of my time. It took more of my expertise. And although I'm not a therapist, I am not a miracle worker. I literally use my own experiences and what I know as a style expert to help to transform my clients' lives. So it's so important as a stylist to hone in on your style philosophy and your story. What is your style philosophy? What do you live by as a stylist? What are you constantly encouraging your clients to do? And when I say style philosophy, I don't just mean, style tips or style advice. I mean, like, what is actually going to change someone's life? What is actually going to shift someone's perspective on how they see themselves and how they understand style and fashion? I'm really big on encouraging my clients not to follow trends because I never did follow trends. I think, well, I'm not going to lie, I did follow trends. I followed trends when I was like in middle school, y'all. When you're in school and you want to look like everybody else, you want to wear what everybody else is wearing. That was me following trends. And real quick, I realized like this is too much. Even when I was running to the mall and trying to keep up with everybody, I was still gravitating towards something that was slightly different. Slightly different. And that's just always been me. I like to have things that nobody else has. Although that's impossible in this day and age unless you get something custom made. But I like to have things that everybody wants but can't get. Or I like to have things that everybody may have, but just in a different color or in a different design. So, for example, I specifically remember, I want to say I was in the seventh grade, y'all. I was in the seventh grade, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, for those who don't know. But there were these boots, these furry boots that everybody had. And there were quite a few different styles. But the specific style that I'm referring to is a pair of like faux suede furry boots that had these little lace ups. And then they had little fur balls at the end of the laces. And you will wrap the laces, the boots will come on, and you will wrap the laces around your boots. And you could flip over like the tongue of the boot and you could see fur on the inside. Y'all, everybody had these boots, but everybody had the black ones, everybody had the brown ones, and I think there may have been like one other color that everybody had. So there was this shoe store that I don't even know if it still exists, but it was called Bare Feet Shoes. And Bare Feet Shoes had the latest, the greatest trends, all the shoes that everybody wanted. So I went into Bare Feet Shoes because I wanted these boots. I said, Ma, I need these boots. Like, I need them. Everybody has them. I need them. But I did not want the colors that everybody had. I just couldn't. I couldn't see myself wearing black boots. If you know me, you know black is, I have a love-hate relationship with the color black. And I just didn't feel like brown really spoke to me. So I went into Bare Feet Shoes and I immediately saw the boots and I saw a color that nobody else had, y'all. They had these hunter green furry boots. They were hunter green. Nobody else had them, yo. Nobody. Seen the boots, tried them on, they had my size. I said, I'm getting them. Ma, I need these boots. Got the boots, worn to school. Y'all know how many compliments I got on those boots? Nobody else had that color. And I felt so confident. I was on trend, but still very different compared to what everybody else was doing. And that has always been how I've been. So if I do find a trend that I like and I want to dabble in, that I want to, try, I'm still going to gravitate towards something different because that's just who I am. And that's just how I am. And I'm constantly encouraging my clients that, you don't have to follow these trends. You don't have to keep up with what everybody else is doing. But if you do decide to do that, Stay true to who you are. Be authentic to you. Don't feel like you got to go out and get these things just because they're popular or just because people are posting them. And those are one of my philosophies, not following trends, understanding your body shape, taking your measurements every quarter, cleansing your wardrobe every quarter, because every quarter our lifestyle changes, every quarter the seasons change, every quarter we evolve to someone different, believe it or not. So those are philosophies that I've picked up along my journey that I speak into my clients, but I also pour those same philosophies into my social media content, into my YouTube videos, into my emails, into my blogs, into my Substack posts, into my LinkedIn articles. That those philosophies and those stories are shared amongst all of my platforms consistently. So when people see something regarding SCB luxury styling, or when people see something regarding the style savant, they know what they're gonna get. And if they're new, then this is their first time seeing it. They may look at other things that I have, then they can see the consistency of what I talk about. So it's so important to leverage that. Okay, so number three, show. Don't just tell us. Show us. Show up with authority. Show up with authority. So I slightly talked about this before, but really showing up consistently. Social proof, testimonials, branding, visual branding, positioning yourself as an expert. So with me, when it comes to positioning myself as an expert, obviously I'm talking about things that I'm an expert in. I'm sharing my advice, I'm educating, I'm providing tips, I'm providing all the things that people may be looking for. And I talk about that in my content, but I'm not just posting anything. All of my content is branded some kind of way, whether it has my logo on there, whether it is my brand colors, whether it has my website on there, whether it has professional images of me on there, whether I'm sharing professional photos of myself, which I encourage every stylist to have. These selfies and iPhone photos, I mean, don't get me wrong, iPhones take amazing pictures. But a lot of the times you can tell the difference between a phone picture and a camera picture. If you are going to take photos, professional photos with your phone, make sure the lighting's good. Make sure the quality is good. I think one of my biggest things as a style savant, as a style expert, I provide quality. I provide quality imagery. I provide quality content. I don't just put raggedy stuff out there. And to me, it might seem raggedy, even if I'm rushing. To me, it might seem raggedy, but to others, it doesn't always seem that way, or it doesn't seem that way at all. So when you are really showing up on social media and being consistent and providing people with the content they're looking for and showing up as an expert, you have to provide quality content. Quality content. So making sure again that you are putting your logo on things, using Canva if you need to. Nobody's telling you to go out and hire a social media manager or a social media, you know, um, uh, person to create content for you. Canva exists for people like us, for people who are solopreneurs who do most of the work in their business on their own, and they need templates. And all you have to do is switch out the font color. All you have to do is switch out the font, the font. All you have to do is add in your own things to make it you. But I've always been a creative. I've always been someone that enjoys creating content and designing content. Although I'm not a graphic designer, I've always enjoyed that. I've been using Canva since 2011, 2012. So I've always created my own content unless I hired my boyfriend to create it because he's a real graphic designer, which is interesting that we're together. But needless to say, do what you can with what you have, but also don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Taking professional photos is really also going to position you as an expert. not these little, iPhone pictures and things like that, especially if the quality does not align. If you are going to do your iPhone photos, if you are going to do your camera phone photos, make sure your lighting is good. Make sure things look good. And you know what looks good because you've seen great content on social media. You've seen great content on YouTube. So you know what looks good. You know what you like. Pay attention to what draws your eye in. Pay attention to what catches your eye. And basically repurpose that in a way that aligns with your philosophy, your brand, your expertise, and all the things that you do. You have to make sure that you're doing that because visual branding is important. Sharing testimonials of people that you've worked with, sharing testimonials about how people enjoyed working with you, how you've shifted their perspective on style, how you transformed their life, how you've made their life easier. Share those testimonials. If you are featured in a blog, if you are featured on a show, if you are featured in a newsletter, share that. Share everything that highlights you as an expert. If you were on a podcast, share that. It's so important to show people what you are doing, to show people what you are capable of. Don't be afraid to share what you're working on, to share what you have accomplished. Definitely make sure you do that. And last but not least, create offers that reflect your expertise. So I'm pretty sure I talked about this previously. I'm not sure if it was a live segment or if it was a YouTube video, but I always talked about, or I think it was a YouTube video, because I talked about, packaging your expertise and pricing your services. And if you are offering something that reflects your expertise, then it should be very easy for you to execute. It should be very easy for you to increase your income. It should be very easy for you to, gain opportunity because you are offering something that you're really, really good at, that you've honed in on, that only you, for the most part, is capable of doing the way that you do it. So if you're offering packages and offering offers that align with your level of expertise, then it's easy for you to be seen as an expert because you're the only one that can do what it is that you're offering in the way that you're offering it. Again, it's so many stylists out here offering the same things, but they're not offering it in the same way. You know how many bread companies exist? You know how many coffee companies exist? Starbucks is top tier. But guess what? We got Pete's Coffee. What else we got? We got Panera Bread. We got McDonald's Coffee. We have so many other coffee shops out here. We have, what is that? Le Petit. I think it's like a DC thing. Like, just because Starbucks exists doesn't mean that other coffee companies aren't going to get started. Just because we have Chick-fil-A as top tier doesn't mean that McDonald's and Burger King are going out of business. Just because we have Target and Walmart doesn't mean that these other, department stores or whatever stores are going out of business. I mean, in that case, I think they are. I haven't seen, Big Lots is still a thing. I think Kmart is gone. So, that was probably a bad example because honestly, I feel like we only have Target and Walmart. So, yeah, unless y'all live in like a different city that something else exists, we only got Target and Walmart here in Baltimore. But grocery stores, you got your Whole Foods, your Trader Joe's, your Giant, your Shoppers, your Weis, your Aldi, your Lidl. Like those are all grocery stores that offer the same thing, but they do it in their own unique way. So think about that. So I hope this was helpful. I definitely was on here a lot longer than I wanted to be, but I wanted to make sure that I covered all of these things because I know that it's going to be helpful to you all in the end. So I'm excited for you all to join Hey Stylist. I'm excited for you all to continue joining me on these live segments every Thursday at 12:30. And I'm extremely excited for you to comment in the comments and let me know what you think about this topic, what you thought about this topic, and if there are any other topics that you'd like me to cover, along with any questions that you may have, because I'm here to answer them. But I appreciate y'all, and I thank y'all so much for tuning in with me, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.